The sun came up over Canterlot Academy, but instead of students waking up to get to class, they were instead sleeping in. For it was summer vacation, and many of the students were sleeping in an extra hour or so. In Spike's room, the boy slept until his alarm clock hit 10 in the morning and rang. He turned it off, sat up, and yawned. Best sleeping I've had in a long time. He got out of bed and hopped into the bathroom for a shower. After freshening up in a fresh set of clothes, Spike was all set to begin his first day of summer. He stepped out of his room and walked down the halls. I wonder who else is up at this point, he wondered as he went downstairs. When he arrived at the student lounge, he saw Twilight and Trixie relaxing. Morning, girls. The two noticed him, and Twilight greeted him. Good morning, Spike, and how are you today? Trixie inquired. Very well, and you too? Never better, Twilight answered, especially now that it's summer. Trixie added. I hear you, Spike said, as he took a seat in a chair. So where's everyone else? Rainbow's sleeping in. Applejack was up early and headed to her family's farm to help out. Pinky's trying out new sweets recipes. Sunset's helping Vinyl with some new remixes. Rarity's looking for inspiration for new summer styles. And Fluttershy's out at the local animal shelter, Twilight explained. So it looks like it's just going to be the three of us today, Trixie said. Well, that doesn't sound bad at all, Spike answered. The three relaxed, until Trixie spoke up. Hey, you know I got a good idea for the three of us to do today in my room. What's that? Twilight asked. Something kinky, Spike thought hopefully. Why don't we go to my room and play a friendly game of truth or dare? Trixie suggested. Truth or dare? The two asked. Yeah, it's a fun game. Plus it'll be just us three. Spike spoke up. Count me in. How about it, Twee? Twilight was unsure, wondering why Trixie would suggest truth or dare, but decided to go along with it, not wanting to leave Spike with her. Okay, I'm in. Perfect. Come on, let's go, Trixie said as the three went back up to the dorm rooms. Trixie showed the two into her room. Spike looked around, seeing the decor was a lot of magician stuff and fireworks. Nice place, Spike said. Thanks. Sorry if it's a bit messy, Trixie said, as she picked up some of her magic props off the floor to make some room to walk. Once enough room was made, the three took a spot on the floor in a circle. Twilight spoke. So how's this going to work? It's simple, Trixie began, as she drew up 3 slips of paper and used a blue marker to mark the bottom of one slip. The one to draw the mark slip goes first. All right, Spike said, as he and Twilight each took a slip and pulled it. Twilight saw hers was unmarked, and Spike saw he had the marked one, meaning the one left in Trixie's fist was unmarked like Twilight's. Looks like I get to go first, Spike noted. Looks that way, Twilight agreed. Indeed, Trixie nodded. Now then, Spike, you're allowed to ask either one of us truth or dare. But here's the little catch. What catch? Spike asked. If one decides not to do a dare or tell the truth, they will be forced to remove an article of clothing. The magician girl smirked. What? Twilight shrieked. Whoa, Spike gasped as he was getting flustered at the thought. Trixie, why would you even suggest it? Twilight demanded. To ensure we go through with whatever we're requested to do. Or are you afraid you may end up losing all your clothes, Twilight? Trixie grinned. Twilight scowled, seeing this was where it was headed. Oh, you're on. Spike watched as the two girls were eager and thought, I may see some shit today. Okay, Spike, start it off for us, Trixie said. Spike nodded as he debated on who to pick until he decided. All right, Trixie, truth or dare? Truth. Okay, have you ever not taken a challenge? Twilight looked at Trixie, who suddenly felt nervous. Before answering, yes, there was one time back in junior high, I was going on a boasting spree, until one of the kids there challenged me to run through the school in my underwear. Seriously, Twilight asked. So you backed down from it? Spike asked. Of course I did. I may love a challenge, but I'm not crazy. That's a theory just proven wrong, Twilight said to herself, as Trixie eyed her. Since Spike asked me, it's my turn now, Trixie began, and I choose Twilight. Truth or dare? Okay, dare, she answered. Ooh, Spike gasped. Trixie smirked. Let's see, I dare you to smother Spike in your chest, huh? The two asked in surprise. You want me to what? Twilight cried. What's the matter, Twilight? Chickening out, Trixie tempted her. Twilight wasn't about to let Trixie get the first laugh on her just yet. Not on your life. Spike, come here. Spike was stunned to hear Twilight was going to go through the dare. Without saying a word, he scooted closer to her, until she grabbed Spike's head and pulled it into her breasts, smothering him into them. She turned to Trixie looking smug. What do you have to say to that, Trixie? Trixie did a mock applaud. Bravo, Twilight. You've shown me you yourself have an inner pervert. Twilight's eyes widened as she looked down, seeing she was still smothering Spike into her breasts. She finally released him and he panted. "If that was my untimely demise, I would have died a happy death," he said. Twilight crossed her arms over her chest and spoke. "Well, just don't tell anyone I did that." "Right," Spike answered, still swooned by the display of affection he endured. "Okay, Twilight, it's your turn," Trixie said. Twilight nodded and turned to Spike. "Spike, truth or dare? Dare me." Twilight smiled. "I dare you to do your best impression of one of our friends." "Any of them?" Spike asked. "Any," Twilight confirmed. Let me think on who." Spike pondered on which girl to mimic, until he made his choice. "Okay, this is my best interpretation of Rarity." He then started speaking in a voice like Rarity's. "Well, good morning, darlings. Don't you think it's an absolute divine day?" "Well, I certainly do. I was wondering if you'd be interested in trying out some of my fabulous designer outfits. They'll make you look absolutely magnificent." He winked like Rarity. Twilight and Trixie couldn't help but laugh. "Oh, you sounded just like her." Trixie laughed while clutching her side. Too bad the others couldn't hear this. Twilight laughed while laying on the floor. Spike smiled and knew that the game had only just begun. Soon enough more turns were taken, as truths were spilled and dares were carried out, while some were not. About an hour or so later, as it stood, all three were barefoot, while Spike lost his shirt, allowing the two girls to stare at Spike's chest. Trixie ended up losing her top, allowing her beautiful plump breasts still contained in her blue bra to be exposed, while Twilight ended up losing her pants, exposing her purple-colored panties. Spike tried to maintain a straight face, but was unsuccessful, as he found himself glancing at Trixie's chest and Twilight's bottoms. It was Trixie's turn, as the girl spoke up. "Spike, truth or dare?" "Dare." Trixie smirked, having the perfect dare. "Okay, I dare you to massage my breasts." Spike gawked, while Twilight looked appalled. "Trixie, why would you dare him to do something like that?" "Because I noticed he's been gazing at my chest ever since I lost my top, so I've decided to further tease him," she smirked. "Well, Spike, they're waiting," Trixie said, as she stuck her chest out to Spike. Spike could see Twilight crossing her arms, looking miffed at both Trixie's dare, or the fact that Spike was going to go through with it. Spike, not wanting to pass up the chance to cope with a feel of Trixie, and wanting his pants to stay on, proceeded. When his hands grasped Trixie's breasts, he proceeded to massage them, as Trixie moaned. "Oh, Spike, that feels perfect," Spike thought in arousal. Twice the boobig on the first day of summer. Twilight continued to hopelessly watch as Spike was massaging Trixie's boobs. While her face showed she looked livid, deep down she was truly envious as she watched Spike's hands work. Trixie moaned. "Okay, Spike, that'll do. Unless you want to keep going, then by all means," she winked. Spike blushed at her words, until Twilight spoke up. He did his dare. "Let's go on with the game." Spike snapped out of it and removed his hands from Trixie's breasts. "Right, it's all right then. Twilight, truth or dare?" "Truth." "Okay. Have you ever barged in on a sexual encounter by accident?" Trixie looked at Twilight, who looked sheepish, and finally answered. "One time." "Enlighten us," Trixie said, as she and Spike awaited. "This was years ago, when my brother and Cadence were starting to take the next step into their relationship. I walked into my brother's room and saw them in bed together. Naturally, my only response was a panicking shriek, as I ran from the room and hid under my bed covers. The sight of my older brother in bed with my old babysitter making love was enough to blind me. I felt like I needed serious therapy afterward, but Cadence and Shining sat down and talked me through it. Must have been incredibly awkward," Spike said. Twilight gave him a deadpan look. "You have no idea." "All right, Twilight, your turn," Trixie said. Twilight nodded and turned to Spike. "Spike, truth or dare?" "Truth." "Okay," Twilight thought before deciding a question. "Have you ever lost your virginity?" Trixie was taken aback by her question, while Spike paled. Many thoughts were rushing through his head about whether to confess or pass, with both options clashing. Twilight thought to herself, "I can't wait to see how he answers about it. Even if he doesn't, it's still funny to see his reaction." "Yes, I've lost my virginity," Spike erupted in a panic. Twilight did a double take. "What? You did? When? How? Who?" Trixie demanded. Spike, realizing he let it slip out, spoke. "I've said too much. I better go." He wanted to escape, only for the two to pull him back down. "Sit, Spike," Trixie said. "You lost your virginity? To who?" Twilight asked, as the girl squinted at him. Spike could feel both their eyes piercing right into his soul and confessed. "Applejack and Rainbow Dash were my first ones." "Applejack and Rainbow Dash?" Twiligit asked in shock. "First," Trixie asked in confusion. Whoops, Spike cringed. When did this happen? Twilight inquired, while crossing her arms. Spike, seeing he wasn't going to get out of this thought. Forgive me, girls. He spoke up. It was the first night of the new year. I asked for Applejack and Rainbow to spend the night in my room again. At first it was casual, and then one thing led to another. Unbelievable, Twilight said in disbelief. And what did you mean they were your first ones? Trixie asked, wanting answers even more. Spike answered, still feeling nervous. I kinda slept with a few more girls. And they were, Twilight demanded. Fluttershy, Pinky, and Sunset Shimmer. Twilight's eyes widened. You slept with more than half of my friends. You slept with half of the Rainbooms. Trixie gasped. I did, he answered, but I didn't force them into it, I swear to God. Do they know about it? Twilight inquired. No, we all swore each other to secrecy, and I, Pinky, promised with Pinkie Pie. Twilight looked at Spike and asked, so you didn't do it with Rarity or Vinyl? I haven't. Twilight sighed. Well, I feel disappointed in you, Spike. I'm also disappointed in my friends as well. They did want it, and you just let yourself oblige by their requests. Well, for one thing, I'm a guy with uncontrollable hormones in a school with nothing but girls. And they wanted it more. Twilight spoke. I'm gonna have to have a talk with them. And me, Trixie put in. Spike, feeling guilty, spoke. Girls, I never meant to hurt anybody, especially you two. I wouldn't blame you if you never trusted me again, Spike, Twilight began. As he looked up at her, while I'm appalled at what you guys did, it doesn't mean I won't stop trusting you. Hell, out of all the boys I've ever met, you're still more trusting than them. Yes, and at least you didn't sleep with the entire student body save for us, Trixie added. That would have been an even harder challenge, but if I played my cards right. He saw the two girls scowling at him, and I'll shut up, he thought. I'm probably gonna be getting an earful as soon as Twilight and Trixie confront the others about this.
She